6 and then I feed the chicks and I'm feeling lonesome and blue. And when I milk the cow, it seems somehow my thoughts keep straying to you. And as the horse and I plough the field nearby, your memory I can't erase. For while I walk at the rear of the horse, my dear, I seem to see your face. I'm gonna sow the seed of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. Yes, I was happy as a pig in spite of the way that you looked at me when I met you at the village dance. But you was in the ladies' excuse me at the time, and I thought I would never have a chance. But you let me walk you home across Platt's Meadow, and I knew that with you I should be a hit. Cause I got an old cow to get up and walk away, so that you'd have somewhere nice and dry to sit. I'm gonna sow the seed of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. Side by side we will take a ride in my horse and buggy one day. And when the daylight ends and the night descends, my horse will run out of hay. And I will kiss your lips, those tempting lips, the only ones that can thrill me. And I will hold you tight neath the stars so bright. If the wife ever finds out, she'll kill me. I'm gonna sow the seed of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. I'm gonna sow the seed of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with sweet desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. I'm gonna sow the seed of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love.
Jack was working on the farm one evening in July, when all at once a gypsy girl came gaily tripping by. She smiled as she went running barefoot through his cabbage patch. Her hair was long and black and she had fingernails to match. Oh, let us play at hide and seek, the gypsy gaily cried. Now close your eyes and count to 20 while I go and hide. And if you catch me, I will let you steal a kiss from me. And if you cannot find me, I'll be right behind that tree. He caught her, then he kissed her hand, oh he was very keen. It was 11 inches long, the biggest hand he'd seen. And as he kissed that hand, a thought into his mind was put. If that hand had been 1 inch longer, he'd have kissed her foot. He asked her what her lips were for as they sat by a hedge. She said they're there to stop me mouth from fraying round the edge. I want you for my wife, he begged, as eager as could be. She said, now don't be silly, what would your wife do with me? The day they wed, Jack said, I am the happiest man on earth. The preacher said, well, pay me then and give me what she's worth. Oh, Jackie gave him half a crown. The preacher looked at Jack, and then he saw his bride-to-be and gave him 9pence back. Oh, Jack went off a-roaming soon after they were wed, but his wife, she got so lonesome and she went around with Fred. Oh, Jackie got to hear of this and said, it's time I stopped her. So he flew home by aeroplane and by helicopter.
There. Now what good's that done you?
Life was quiet and serene for little Lucy Brown, until that day in May her 18th birthday came around. Her pa said, "Guess what I have got you?" She said, "I don't know." He said, "I've been and bought you a brand new Piccolo," and it goes. She said, "It's what I've always wanted, now I'll learn to play. I'll practice in the attic when I come home each day. No more pubs and coffee bars, I promise I'll be good. I'll be the only virtuoso in the neighborhood, and I'll go." Lucy got so expert that she joined a ladies' band, and off they went on tour to play in a far, far distant land. They played before a native king and their music knocked him cold, and to his slaves he cried, "Fill all their instruments with gold." The girl who played upon the bass said, "Ain't I lucky chum?" And sheer delight spread o'er the face of the girl who played the drum. But life is full of heartache, and life is full of woe, and life is very hard for a girl who plays the piccolo and goes. Later they were summoned to play before the prince, but he had no ear for music and their playing made him wince. He hollered, "Seize 'em!" and before the girls could grab their coats, he shouted, "Get their instruments and shove 'em down their throats." The girls who played the bass and drum, they quickly said, "Oh no, instruments as large as ours really just won't go." But life is full of heartache, and life is full of woe, and life is very sad for a girl who plays the piccolo and goes. Lucy now exhibits in a sideshow at the fair, 'cause every time that she breathes out she plays a lively air, and people come from miles around to crowd into the tent and watch poor Lucy jiving to her own accompaniment.
I understand you're going to sing for us, Mr. Grimley.
Oh, my word, yes. It's a little song about Samuel Pepys.
Oh, yes, he was a great lexicographer.
Well, he had ample opportunity, didn't he? Wasn't writing his diary all the time, was he?
Quite so.
Righto, group. Thanks out. A shy young maid has took a room down at the village inn. Her bedside light is oh so bright and the curtains oh so thin. She enters a room at 9 o'clock, at 9:30 she sleeps. Lord Clarendon walks quickly on, but naughty Samuel peeps.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
Last Monday morn my lady wife sent me to the butcher's shop. The butcher asked politely if I'd care for a mutton chop. I smiled and said a small sheep's head is really all I seek, and leave the eyes in 'cause it's got to see us through the week.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
I know a shy young shepherd boy, and Basil is his name. He has a sister called Anna, who sets my heart aflame. Through woodland glade and through meadows green I did walk with this fair lass, but she slipped on a cowslip and she fell down on the grass.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
Oh, I stooped down and picked her up. Her manner was serene. Kind sir, said she, pray put me down, for you don't know where I've been. Basil begged me to marry her, and this to me did say, please wed my sister Anna, for she's in everybody's way.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
Halfway up a wall outside a castle in Tranmere, there is a sign which reads, the Duke of Denbigh was born here. I have travelled far and I've travelled wide, but ne'er can I recall of ever hearing of a duke born halfway up a wall.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
I went to rent a lady's house, she handed me the key. She said it's to be let as it stands with all that you can see. And are you to be let with the house, said I in a very saucy tone. She said I'm not to be let with the house, I'm to be let alone.
Oh, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary. Yes, we know it's right, it's in black and white, and it's all written down in his diary.
My baby's got a transistor radio, she takes it everywhere we go. She takes it when we go out a walking, even to a movie show. Went out just last night in the pale moonlight, I asked her for a kiss. But instead of hearing her whisper sweet words of love, all that I could hear was this.
Last night I held a little hand, it made my poor heart sing. It was the sweetest hand I've held for ages and a king.
I went round to the house where my baby lives to ask her for a date. There I was walking up the garden path around about 8:30, when I heard a sound made my poor heart pound. It stopped me in my stride. I seemed to hear the voice of another guy coming from inside.
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight, but no one to call. Maybe that's 'cause you're 11 feet tall. But all the world's a stage, they say. I've often heard that said. But I don't have a wooden heart, I have a wooden head.
I'd like to take her transistor radio and throw it in the deep blue sea. I'm so jealous of her transistor radio, 'cause it takes her mind off me. I said, oh baby, please be mine, I want you for my own. Tell me, is your love for somebody else, or is it for me alone?
It's also for Nagayo Guki of British Honduras, Umbongo Appeldurian of New Guinea, and Fred Glockenlocker of British West Hartlepool.
I swore to her that I would be always true and love her all the while. And on that oh so happy day in May, I took her down the aisle. Now do you take this man to be your loving husband? The preacher softly said. But he never heard you say I do, 'cause this is what he heard instead.
Come, yeah, yeah. Come, yeah, yeah. You told me you were just 18 on the telephone. I thought that you meant 18 years, but you meant 18 stone, big fat mama.
We went to spend our honeymoon down on the island of Capri. I found ourselves a very small hotel, as quiet as could be. But when I got up to our room upon our wedding night, this is the sound that reached my ears as I switched out the light.
Darling,
Here, where's the radio?
music he wants.
listen to the story of a lonely fool who fell in love with teacher when I was at school. But I knew our love could never be. She could not be mine, for she was nearly 23. I was 39. Lonely boy, a lonely boy. Why am I such a lonely boy? I went to my first dance. I met sweet Irene. She had the loveliest eyes I have ever seen. I said within those lovely eyes I could live and die. She said the left one ought to suit you then, 'cause it's got a sty. A lonely boy, a lonely boy. Why am I such a lonely boy? The next girl that I danced with liked me a little better. She had her name embroidered right across her sweater, but she had no sense of humor, didn't like my cheek. You see, her name was Pat. My case comes up next week. Lonely boy, lonely boy. Why am I such a lonely boy? Now my lonely nights are over, ever since I met Claire. She is the fat tattooed lady from the local fair, and she's promised she will be my wife. The thought makes my poor heart pound, for I'll have heat in the winter, shade in the summer, and moving pictures all the year round. Lonely boy, lonely boy, no more will I be a lonely boy.
Hello, Ethel. Last night, eh?
Oh, hello, Mr. Rogers. Could I speak to Ethel, please? Thank you. Is that my darling Ethel? Is that the girl I held in my arms last night, the little angel who filled me with wild delight?
Oh, don't be like that, Ethel. I wasn't all that late. Well, you said be there at 7.
I was there by 8:30. Well, I went home to change me clothes, dear. I thought I'd wear that suit that you always like. You know, the one I scrounged off your brother Mike. And when at last I met you outside the hippodrome, well, I found that in my haste I gone and left my wallet home. And that is why you had to pay, dear. Well, you always have to pay to get in the flicks, and I'm sorry that it cost you 14 and 6. Oh, you mean that blue-eyed blonde in red who sat down next to me? Well, I don't know who she was, love, it was far too dark to see. Oh, I may have played footsie with her and squeezed her hand a bit, but I done it quite subconscious, that's the side you always sit. I didn't want to go out with her. It's just, my dear, that as she got up to leave, the brooch that she was wearing caught on me sleeve. No, I went down to the kiosk to get you a bite to eat. Well, you said that you was hungry and you fancied something sweet. What, me flirt with the kiosk girl? Oh, don't be so unkind. It's just that she had such a lot of nice things and I couldn't make up my mind. Well, I knew we'd need enough to last with the big film yet to come, and that's why I took so long to get that packet of chewing gum. But when I took you back to my place, well, I thought you'd like to meet me old mum and dad, 'cause you know you often said that you never had. Well, I tried to make you welcome, so I poured you out a gin, and it wasn't till then I realised that mum and dad weren't in. But when I switched the light up, Well, I thought you said you wanted to watch TV, and in the dark it's much easier to see. Well, I went and switched the light out, and I sat next to you, my pet. It was only then it occurred to me we never had a set. Well, I was trying to get the matches. They was underneath the cushion on which you sat. Oh, you know I wouldn't do a thing like that. Yeah, Ethel? Ethel! Yeah, oh, with you. Hello, Phoebe. Here, fancy a gig with tomorrow night, eh? About 7. Yeah, bring your purse. No, not your brother purse. Look, I'll see you outside the Palais. No, I'll see you inside the Palais. Have you still got that motorbike? Go on then, in there.
Yeah, all right. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
They know what they are.
we have a treat in store for you.
And indeed,
for all of us
too.
as well.
Well, yeah. Here to give us
Here to give us a solo
is our worthy and respected
choir master Ted Grumble.
Well, that's a surprise, I must say. However, since I have been called upon, I shall give you a new song. It's in the Modern Idiot, and it goes something like this. Now Lucy went down on a farm, tried to milk a cow. Though she tried, she couldn't get the hang of it somehow. The farmer looked at Lucy, and he murmured with a frown, well, now you just hang on tightly, gal, and she'll jump up and down. Oh, gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot. To make herself more beautiful, she thought she'd bathe in milk. She said, I'll have a bath, well, to her milkman, Jackie Wilk. He said, you want it pasteurized before I pour it in? She said, no, I'll be happy if it comes up to me chin. Oh, gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot. The farmer courted Lucy one dark and stormy night. She said, you are too old for me because your hair is white. He looked into her eyes and then he knew he'd have to tell her, there's snow upon the roof, but there's a fire in the cellar. Oh, gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot. She took him in the kitchen, she was his turtle dove, and then she started cooking dumplings on the stove. She wore a low-cut dress, ooh, it was as green as clover. He jumped with glee cause he could see her dumplings boiling over. Oh, gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot. She said, you give me half a crown and I will read your palm. And then she saw his love line went halfway up his arm. So now she's changed her prices, although she's just as willing. It's big fat men at £2.10 and little boys a shilling. Oh, gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot. We're gonna gather in the mushrooms, put them in a pot, pop them in the oven, and serve them piping hot.
Here I stand at the railroad track. The memory of her, it keeps calling me back. But hoo-wee goes that old freight train, telling me I should be moving on again and on. I went to rent a lady's house, she handed me the key. She said it's to be let like this with all that you can see. And are you to be let with the house, said I in a most expectant tone. She said I'm not to be let with the house, I'm to be let alone. So here I stand by the railroad track. The memory of her, it keeps calling me back. But hoo-wee goes that old freight train, telling me I should be moving on again and on. I met a rich old widow, she was 85 years old. But coming from a dance one night, she caught a nasty cold. We rubbed her back with whiskey to try and cure her cough. And then she went and broke her neck, trying to lick it off. So here I stand by the railroad track. The memory of her, it keeps calling me back. But hoo-wee goes that old freight train, telling me I should be moving on again and on. I took my friend McTavish to Rosie's house for tea. She said, what's that thing on your lap just above your knee? He said, oh, that's my spotting, ma'am. She said, well, goodness sake, for 2 whole hours I've been trying to feed it chocolate cake. Here I stand by the railroad track. The memory of her, it keeps calling me back. But hooey goes that old freight train, telling me I should be moving on again and on. All my lonely nights are over now that I've met Claire. She's the fat tattooed lady from the local fair. But since I have been wed to her a paradise I've found, I've got heat in the winter and shade in the summer and pictures all year round. No more will I stand at the railroad track with the memory of her calling me back. And who we can go that old freight train, but I'm never moving on again.
Outside the bar in Toledo, where you had more than your fill, a man stood rotating a chicken on a flaming hot infrared grill. You staggered up to him and shouted, with a voice just like a town crier. You said, "Hey mate, your barrel organ is broke, and what's more, your monkey's on fire." But the Andalucian Gypsies have a saying so old but so true, that for every man there's a woman, and my darling, I've chosen you. Now you never ate peas with your knife, dear. To do so you said was a crime. Instead you would take a celery stalk and you'd roll them down one at a time. If you eat one more dumpling you'll burst, dear. One day to you I had to say, you simply said, well, pass the dumplings and stand well back out of the way. But the Andalucian Gypsies have a saying so old but so true, that for every man there's a woman, and my darling, I've chosen you. You used to try to make tea cakes with a recipe your mother lent. In my mouth they melted like butter, in my stomach they set like cement. You used to experiment daily with different things that would fill me. It was just like playing Russian roulette. I never knew which meal would kill me. But the Andalusian Gypsies have a saying so old but so true, that for every man there's a woman, and my darling, I've chosen you. On a bar stool you had a hangover. It used to hang over the edge. If a drunk should come in and see you, he'd go straight out and sign the pledge. Oh, my wife is one in a million. Often have I heard that said, but you are not one in a million. You look like you're one in a raffle instead. But the Andalusian Gypsies have a saying so old but so true, that for every man there's a woman, and I had to get lumbered with you.
It's the egg marketing board tango. In other words, the dance of love. You go down to the palais and you're eager for a dance. You see a lovely stranger and your eyes meet quite by chance. She's warm and she's desirable, with lips meant to be kissed. So you stand 8 feet apart and do the twist. Oh Lord, but in the tango you gets the chance to hold her oh so near, and you gaze into her lovely eyes of blue. And while you're dancing, you whisper sweet nothings in her ear, and she says sweet nothing doing back to you. You give her ear a nibble, you give her cheek a peck. You've got her in a grip of steel, you're breathing down her neck. And then she says those magic words that thrill you through and through. You've been eating pickled onions, haven't you? Oh, pooh. Once I met a girl called Kitty, who was pretty as could be. She lived up in the city and she asked me round to tea. But pretty witty Kitty, she tried to pull my leg, so I hit her, what a pity, with a soft boiled egg. Then the wireless played a tango and I held her in my arms as we swayed and we glided around the room. And when her dad come in, we carried on. Alas, I didn't know he was deaf and he couldn't hear the tune. He punched me in the ear-hole and he hit me with a vase. He chased me down the garden and he kicked me on the grass. So now I swear I'm finished, as true as stars above, with the tango, the dance of love. Now I've just read an interesting article, the most interesting I've ever seen. It told the difference between a fat girl and a girl who's lean. It said both of them may smoke a cigarette, but it's one of life's natural laws that the fat girl always finishes first, cause she takes bigger draws. I know it's true, I know it's right, it's in the papers, black and white. And the fashion editress tells us that the necklines are getting real bold. They're wearing the new religious look, it's sort of low and behold. Now the necklines are getting lower and the skirts go up each week. I don't know where it's all leading, but I'd like to be there when they meet. I know it's true, I know it's right, it's in the papers, in black and white. Now a nervous new rent collector got the wind up the very first day. He said, boss, there's a man at the buildings with a pitchfork barring my way. His boss said, but all of my tenants are very high class and well bred. He was probably holding a pitchfork because he'd been making the bed. I know it's true, I know it's right, it's in the papers, in black and white. And the readers write to Dr. Jollygood because he helps them so. If they say they suffer from acne, he says move to Walthamstow. A woman wrote that a cartridge had been swallowed by her young son. He said just to keep him wrapped up warm and don't point him at anyone. I know it's true, I know it's right, it's in the papers, in black and white. Oh yeah, yeah, it's in the papers. Oh, oh, extra, extra, read all about it. It was just this morning I saw you in the street. My mind went winging back to the days when life was sweet. When your mother took us aside and said, now listen dears, is there anything between you? You said yes, about 25 years. But those golden days are over, they're in the long gone by. Nevermore will they return, no matter how we try. I recall the first lunch that your mother cooked for me, when I arrived at your front door as hungry as could be. She said, now tell me, can you guess what's for lunch today, my son? But I knew it was roly-poly put, 'cause she only had one stocking on. But those golden days are over, they're in the long gone by. Nevermore will they return, no matter how we try. I remember your brother Jimmy crying one summer's day. Why do you cry, young Jimmy? I heard your granddad say. 'Cause I can't do what the big boys do, that's why I cry, said Jim. Move over then, said your granddad, and he sat down and cried with him. But those golden days are over, they're in the long gone by. Nevermore will they return, no matter how we try. But it was just this morning that I again saw you. You were with your husband and several children too. But as I passed you in the street, I smiled, for I could see what a big fat ugly crow you turned out to be. But those golden days are over, they're in the long gone by. Nevermore will they return, no matter try. I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. In Saint-Tropez I met Selena. Now her figure was not very nice. She was so thin the cat had her out on the landing twice. When she went down to the beach there, everyone stared at her. And when she wore her topless bathing suit, people kept calling her sir. Oh, I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. In Lisbon I first kissed Maria. It was late on a September night. She was a vision of loveliness in the early morning light. I said, tell me where have you been all my life, my Venus of the dawn? She smiled and said, well, for the first 20 years I wasn't even born. Oh, I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. Big Annie from Brighton once ordered a steak weighing 9¼ pounds. The butcher, he said, will you take it, ma'am, or shall I send it round? She said, no, I just want to look at it, 'cause I've been dieting like a chump. And that's what I've lost, and I just want to see what it looks like in one lump. Oh, I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. Oh, one day I saw in Girona, on a river so quiet and remote, 8 lovely girls from the college. They were all in the same boat, and as they rowed in unison by me, I gallantly raised my hat, and I said with a sigh, I wish that I could stroke a crew just like that. Oh, I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. With Rita I stood in a tube train. We were hanging on tight by the strap when she let her pretty white hanky fall on a sleeping old gentleman's lap. Now when he awoke from his slumber, he saw everyone staring at him, and thinking it was his shirt tail, he slyly tucked it in. Oh, I'm flying south for the summer. I'm gonna follow the sun. I'm flying south for the summer. Now the mating season's begun. The sun and the rain fell from up above and landed on the hearth below in my garden of love. Now there's a rose for the way my spirits rose when we met, a forget-me-not to remind me to remember not to forget, a pine tree for the way I pined over you, and an ash for the day I asked you to be true. And the sun and the rain fell from up above and landed on the hearth below in my garden of love. Now there's a palm tree that we planted when we had our first date, a turnip for the way you always used to turn up late. Your mother and your cousin Chris, they often used to come. So in their honor I have raised a nice Chris and the mum. And the sun and the rain fell from up above and landed on the earth below in my garden of love. Now there's a beetroot for the day you said that you'd be true to me. A sweet pea for the sweet way you always smiled at me. But you had friends who needed you. There was Ferdy, there was Liza. So just for them I put down a load of fertilizer. And the sun and the rain fell from up above and landed on the earth below in my garden of love. But Gus the gardener's left now, and you went with him too. The fungus there reminds me of the fungus he's having with you. Now the rockery's a mockery, with weeds it's overgrown. The fuchsia's gone, I couldn't face the fuchsia all alone. And my tears fell like raindrops from the sky above and poisoned all the flowers in my garden of love.
Never know why a horse grazing in a field all day should be so hard to sit upon when he's so full of hay. I'll never know how a rose can look so sweet and pure and hold its head up high when it's standing in manure. I'll never know. Never know if it's true that you reap just what you sow, or if it's true that great aches from little toe corns grow. I'll never know if it's true when they say that fish can fly, though the one I had for tea today was really rather high. I'll never know. The night nurse came to my room and knocked upon the door. Then she came in and threw my bedclothes straight upon the floor. And then she bathed me and she scrubbed me from my toes up to my chin. I said, oh, tell me, nurse, why did you knock when you came in? 'Cause I'll never know. I'll never know why Mother Nature gave my wife such a beautiful face, with skin as smooth as satin and hair as soft as lace. Yes, Mother Nature gave my wife that beautiful mouth that she's got, and then she stuck a tongue in it and spoilt the bloomin' lot. Why, I'll never know.
Now, I don't want you folks to misconstrue what I'm about to say to you, but I'm going to tell you about the women in my life. Now, I know some gals are real refined, but I always seem to get the other kind, and maybe that's why I've never found a wife. Now, I used to know a gal in Crewe. She was 5'2" and eyes of blue, and she told me that her name was Lottie. But I think she was funny in the head, because she used to sleep underneath the bed. Her parents thought she was a little potty. But I kind of liked the way she'd smile, so I went around with her for a while, and I kind of thought of her as my bride-to-be. I said, you're the one girl in my life, and I'd like to have you for my wife. She said, now what would your wife do with me?
Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, those wild, wild women around. Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, and never ever let them get you down.
Now, one day I met a movie star. She was just getting out of a Rolls-Royce car, and she was all covered in diamonds and mink. Now, I kind of like a gal with money, and this one, well, she was a real honey. So I said, maybe one day you and I could have a little drink. She said, you're just my kind of man. She stuck a phone number in my hand. She said, now phone me up next time that you're in town. I said, is this your penthouse? She said, no, it's the fish and chip shop down below, but you just phone me up and call me down.
Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, those wild, wild women around. Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, and never ever let them get you down.
Now, I was in a Chelsea bar one day, and there was a chap stood about 5 feet away, and we was both admiring a girl about 21. I said, you just can't help but stare at that cute little chick with the long blonde hair. He said, that chick just happens to be my son. I said, I didn't mean to offend. You must allow me to make amends. I mean, at least let me buy you another rum. I said, you must think me an awful cad. I didn't know you was his dad. He said, I'm not, you twit, I'm his mum.
Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, those wild, wild women around. Beware of wild women, those wild, wild women, and never ever let them get you down. And never ever let them get you down.
I met you in Jose's Cantina. Oh, you looked so lonesome and sad. So I said with a wink, let me buy you a drink, and then maybe things won't seem so bad. You ordered a large champagne cocktail, then vodka, then wine from the Rhone. And as I bought it, I suddenly thought it's no wonder that you're on your own. You took me across down to your place, my eagerness I could not hide. As you walked across the floor and you locked the front door, why did you leave me outside? So I went to my uncle Hernando, saying my heart is filled with desire. But the lady says no, and all the waters that flow from the mountains can't put out the fire. He said, when a lady says no, she sometimes means yes, you young hothead. I said that may be so, but she didn't say no. She simply said go and get knotted. So I came here and I sang 'neath your window from midnight till gone 3:30. Oh, tell me, sweet lady, pray tell me, what was it you emptied on me? I hoped when I came to Merida that I'd find the love of my life. And I gave you my heart, but we drifted apart, so I'm going back to the wife.
Now she got eyes that glow like cigarettes with ashtrays underneath. And when she bites her fingernails, her mother hides her teeth. Her general appearance is what you call offbeat. I don't mind girls with kinky boots, but she's got kinky feet. Oh, there are flowers that are blooming in the summertime, the winter and the fall, but the rose that blooms in my heart, I love the best of all. Now her teeth are just like pearls, only pearls' teeth ain't so hot. Her heart is in the right place, but the rest of her is not. Now at her birthday party, the cake, it wasn't bad, and I liked the 18 candles that were on the slice I had. Oh, there are flowers that are blooming in the summertime, the winter and the fall, but the rose that blooms in my heart, I love the best of all. Now she's lazy, she's lethargic, and working she resents. She's slower than a nudist trying to climb a barbed wire fence. Why she talks so slow one evening when she went out with her boss. Before she could say I'm not that kind of a girl, she was. Oh, there are flowers that are blooming in the summertime, the winter and the fall, but the rose that blooms in my heart, I love the best of all. Oh, there are flowers that are blooming in the summertime, the winter and the fall, but the rose that blooms in my heart, I love the best of all. Now down on the farm, everything that you did, it seemed so right somehow. Like the way you always warmed your hands before you milked the cow.
And that old mule, he upped and kicked me in the head one day.
The tears rolled down my cheeks as I saw the poor mule limp away.
That day you helped the poor old lady across the street in the snow.
Believe me, it wasn't easy. She didn't wanna go.
I said I didn't smoke or drink and that necking was unwise.
I said, what do you do then? And you answered, I tell lies. Ah, but those days are far behind me. They're in the long ago. They only serve to remind me just how I love you so. I came round your house a-courtin', late on a Saturday night.
I said I don't want to see you,
so I switched out the light.
Later that night you banged on my door and started to holler and shout. You kicked up such a rumpus that I had to let you out. Into that fateful wedding by my father you were goaded.
That marriage was illegal, the shotgun wasn't loaded. Last week I caught you with the butcher. You were kissing and cuddling and such. Oh, how could you kiss the butcher when we owe the milkman so much? Ah, but those days are far behind me. They're in the long ago. They only serve to remind me just how I love you so. Those days are far behind me. They're in the long ago. They only serve to remind me just how I love you so. Oh, those days are far behind me. They're in the long 'Twas market day in the village, and the crowds round the stalls was quite dense. But what caught my eye was a stall piled high with the musical instruments. And up to the stall come a little old man. His clothes was all tattered and thin, but his face come alight as his eyeballs caught sight of a beautiful old violin. He held it up to the dealer, saying, "How much is this one then?" He replied, "That's a Stradivarius, my man. That'll cost you £4.10. "I can't afford that," sighed the little old man, and a lump come into my throat. I was feeling quite chuffed, and so I stuffed in his hand a 10-shilling note. A crowd had gathered behind us, so I quickly went round with his hat. When I finished, I found I collected £5, so I took my 10-shilling back. Well, we give the dealer the money, and the old man, so shabbily dressed, picked up the violin, stuck it under his chin, and he played like a man possessed. He played cantatas and fugues, and aritoritos too, by composers like Johann Sebastian Bach, to mention only a few. He played waltzes by Strauss and Die Fledermaus, and tales from the Vienna Wood, then Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto, but he didn't play that quite so good. "Well done," cried the crowd when he finished, and they gently patted his head. But the excitement was too much for the little old man, who unfortunately fell down dead. Well, we give the dealer his fiddle, and we took back our £4.10. Then we picked up the old man, and we laid him to rest in the cemetery down by the glen. But sometimes at night, when the moon do shine bright, if I should happen to stray up over the hill, it seems that still I can hear the old man play. Yes, the words of that poplar song rings true, for though the old man is gone, yes, although the song is ended, the melody lingers on. Now it was Christmas Day in the jailhouse. The old man sat in his cell. "Put out your pudding for treacle," he heard the warder yell. "If you want treacle on your pudding, put it out without delay." The old man put out his pudding, and the warder took it away. What a world, what a place. Ain't you glad you're a member of the human race? Now the folk singer came from America to sing at the Albert Hall. He sang his songs of protest and fairer shares for all. He sang how the poor were much too poor and the rich too rich by far. Then he drove back to his penthouse in his brand new Rolls Royce car. What a world, what a place. Ain't you glad you're a member of the human race? Now Annie's a shorthand typist working for the BBC. Her brother Jack is in prison doing 3 years for forgery. Her sister Josie's in Holloway, and in Dartmoor there's her Uncle Jim. And her dad runs a pirate radio ship, but she never talks about him. What a world, what a place. Ain't you glad you're a member of the human race? Now 3 old maids had a she-cat, kept her indoors night and day, kept her away from the he-cats, thought she'd like it better that way. Then one old maid went and got married, the next morning she hastened to write a note to the others which simply said, "Let Kitty out tonight." What a world, what a place. Ain't you glad you're a member of the human race? Now the button was pressed, the world destroyed, leaving just one solitary man. And at the top of the Empire State Building, his lonely existence began. But his loneliness was too much, so he jumped and he fell like a bird with one wing. And as he passed the 7th floor, he heard the telephone ring. What a world, what a place. Ain't you glad you're a member of the human race?